Good morning, this is Ron. Welcome to Story Time. This is Tuesday, August the 1st, and I'm coming to you on location at Lovebirds Cafe and Bakery on Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, California. And I'm reading from the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And today we're going to be covering Law 28, Enter Action with Boldness. If you're unsure of your course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will infect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Any mistakes you commit through audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. Everyone admires the bold. No one honors the timid. Boldness and hesitation, a brief psychological comparison. Boldness and hesitation elicit very different psychological responses in their targets. Hesitation puts obstacles in your path. Boldness eliminates them. Once you understand this, you will find it essential to overcome your natural timidity and practice the art of audacity. The following are the most pronounced psychological effects of boldness and timidity. The bolder the lie, the better. We all have weaknesses and our efforts are never perfect, but entering action with boldness has the magical effect of hiding our deficiencies. Con artists know that the bolder the lie, the more convincing it becomes. The sheer audacity of the story makes it more credible, distracting attention from its inconsistencies. When putting together a con or entering any kind of negotiation, go further than you planned. Ask for the moon and you'll be surprised how often you get it. Lions circle the hesitant prey. People have a sixth sense for the weakness of others. If, in a first encounter, you demonstrate your willingness to compromise, back down, and retreat, you bring out the lion even in people who are not necessarily bloodthirsty. Everything depends on perception, and once you are seen as the kind of person who quickly goes on the defensive, who is willing to negotiate and be amenable, you will be pushed around without mercy. Boldness strikes fear. Fear creates authority. The bold move makes you seem larger and more powerful than you are. If it comes suddenly, with the stealth and swiftness of a snake, it inspires that much more fear. By intimidating with a bold move, you establish a precedent. In every subsequent encounter, people will be on the defensive, in terror of your next strike. Going halfway with a half heart digs the deeper grave. If you enter an action with less than total confidence, you set up obstacles in your own path. When a problem arises, you will grow confused, seeing options where there are none, and inadvertently creating more problems still. Retreating from the hunter, the timid hare scurries more easily into his snares. Hesitation creates gaps, boldness obliterates them. When you take time to think, to hem and haw, you create a gap that allows others time to think as well. Your timidity infects people with awkward energy, elicits embarrassment. Doubt springs up on all sides. Boldness destroys such gaps. The swiftness of the move and the energy of the action leave others no space to doubt and worry. In seduction, hesitation is fatal. It makes your victim conscious of your intentions. The bold move crowns seduction with triumph. It leaves no time for reflection. Audacity spares you from the herd. Boldness gives you presence and makes you seem larger than life. The timid fade into the wallpaper. The bold draw attention, and what draws attention draws power. We cannot keep our eyes off of the audacious. We cannot wait to see their next bold move. Most of us are timid. We want to avoid tension and conflict, and we want to be liked by all. We may contemplate a bold action, but we rarely bring it to life. We are terrified of the consequences, of what others might think of us, of the hostility we will stir up if we dare to go beyond our usual place. Although we may disguise our timidity as concern for others, a desire not to hurt or offend them, in fact, it is the opposite. We are really self-absorbed, worried about ourselves and how others perceive us. Boldness, on the other hand, is outer-directed and often makes people feel more at ease since it is less self-conscious and less repressed. This can be seen most clearly in seduction. All great seducers succeed through effrontery. Casanova's boldness was not revealed in a daring approach to the woman he desired or in intrepid words to flatter her. It consisted in his ability to surrender himself to her completely and to make her believe he would do anything for her, even risk his life, which in fact he sometimes did. The woman on whom he lavished this attention understood that he held nothing back from her. This was infinitely more flattering than compliments. At no point during the seduction would he show hesitation or doubt, simply because he never felt it. Part of the charm of being seduced is that it makes us feel engulfed. Part of the charm of, temporarily outside ourselves and the usual doubts that permeate our lives. The moment the seducer hesitates, the charm is broken, because we become aware of the process, of their deliberate effort to seduce us, of their self-consciousness. Boldness directs attention outward and keeps the illusion alive. It never induces awkwardness or embarrassment. And so we admire the bold and prefer to be around them because their self-confidence infects us and draws us outside our own realm of inwardness and reflection. Few are born bold. Even Napoleon had to cultivate the habit on the battlefield, where he knew it was a matter of life and death. In social settings, he was awkward and timid. But he overcame this and practiced boldness in every part of his life because he saw its tremendous power, how it could literally enlarge a man, even one who, like Napoleon, was in fact conspicuously small. We also see this change in Ivan the Terrible. A harmless boy suddenly transforms himself into a powerful young man who commands authority simply by pointing a finger and taking bold action. You must practice and develop your boldness. You will often find uses for it. The best place to begin is often the delicate world of negotiation, particularly those discussions in which you're asked to set your own price. How often we put ourselves down by asking for too little. When Christopher Columbus proposed that the Spanish court finance his voyages to the Americas, he also made the insanely bold demand that he be called Grand Admiral of the Ocean. The court agreed. The price he set was the price he received. He demanded to be treated with respect, and so he was. Henry Kissinger, too, knew that in negotiation, bold demands work better than starting off with piecemeal concessions and trying to meet the other person halfway. Set your value high, and then, as Count Lustig did, set it higher. Understand, if boldness is not natural, neither is timidity. It's an acquired habit, picked up out of desire to avoid conflict. If timidity has taken hold of you, then root it out. Your fears of the consequences of a bold action are way out of proportion to reality, and in fact, the consequences of timidity are worse. Your value is lowered, and you create a self-fulfilling cycle of doubt and disaster. Remember, the problems created by the audacious move can be disguised, even remedied, by more and greater audacity. Reversal. Boldness should never be the strategy behind all of your actions. It is a tactical instrument to be used at the right moment. Plan and think ahead, and make the final element the bold move that will bring your success. In other words, since boldness is a learned response, it is also one that you learn to control and utilize at will. To go through life armed only with audacity would be tiring and also fatal. You would offend too many people, and is proven by those who cannot control their boldness. One such person was Lola Montez. Her audacity brought her triumphs and led to her seduction of the King of Bavaria, but since she could never rein in her boldness, it also led to her downfall. In Bavaria, in England, wherever she turned. It crossed the border between boldness and the appearance of cruelty, even insanity. Ivan the Terrible suffered the same fate. When the power of boldness brought him success, he stuck to it, to the point where it became a lifelong pattern of violence and sadism. He lost the ability to tell when boldness was appropriate and when it was not. Timidity had no place in the realm of power. You will often benefit, however, by being able to feign it. At that point, of course, it is no longer timidity, but an offensive weapon. You are luring people in with your show of shyness, all the better to pounce on them boldly later. And that's the end of the chapter Law 28. To act audaciously, to act boldly, interaction with boldness. And it again, it's a lot of it, this is about the examples that he's using are Spanish court and kings, queens, secretaries of state, etc. and boldness can be used. It just seems that I think it's a little bit overdone in terms of its usefulness in everyday society. And it also has a tendency to be, written in this chapter, it has a tendency to have a bit of a predatory quality to it, that in order to act boldly and secure power that way, that you have to be a predator, a lion, something of that nature. And I don't think that's something that anybody really wants to do in this day and age. And again, a lot of this, the examples that he's giving are examples from not only the past, but from way back, from like the 1600s, the 1700s, when if you were in court, you were a courtier and you were with the kings and queens, your actions may very well mean the difference between what you do or don't do, and how you do it may mean the difference between getting a promotion or being put to death. Whereas in today's societies, that's rarely the occasion, unless you're perhaps part of a gang or a mafia or ISIS or something of that nature. I think it also reflects, this is another chapter that reminds me of Donald J. Trump, who is very audacious. There's no doubt about that. The question is, if this chapter is true, that you can go too far with audacity, which it seems that you can by the examples, then the question becomes, will Donald Trump go too far with his audacity and bring himself down? In any case, that's the end of Law 28, and coming up on Thursday, August the 3rd, is Law 29, Plan All the Way to the End. The ending is everything. Plan all the way to it, taking into account all the possible consequences, obstacles, and twists of fortune that might reverse your hard work and give the glory to others. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances, and you will know when to stop. Gently guide fortune and help and determine the future by thinking far ahead. And that's going to be on Thursday, August the 3rd. And thank you for joining me, and until then, have a great day.